Very good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ganesh from HDFC Securities, and the topic for today's discussion is the new fund offer from Nippon India AMC, which is the Nippon India Nifty 250 Small Cap Index Fund. Small companies, but big in potential and even bigger in opportunities. We wanted to give you a perspective on how we as investors can participate in the growth story of some of these companies by catching them young and watching them grow, more specifically through the passive mode of investing. And to do that, we have with us Mr. Samir Desai, who's the National Lead for Sales and Business Development for Nippon India AMC. Welcome, Mr. Samir Bhai, and it's over to you now.
Thank you, Ganesh, and good evening to everyone. As Ganesh said, that I will be over the next 20 minutes or so presenting the case for why small cap companies are an important part of the portfolio building blocks, and why invest via the index fund route. So as you can see, this is the NFO or the new fund offer of the Nifty Small Cap 250 Index Fund, which has opened on the September 28th and is closing on the 9th of October. So if I go to the first slide, it is the underlying portfolio is an index, the Small Cap 250 Index. This is not an ETF. It is a open-ended mutual fund, exactly like your traditional mutual fund format. So let me repeat, it is not an ETF. Diversification across the 250 companies is available through a single unit of the small cap index fund portfolio. The expense ratio of an index fund is generally lower than that of the small cap funds that are managed by fund managers. The objective of the benchmark index, which is the small cap 250 index, is to capture the properties and characteristics of the small cap space. And an index is a transparent portfolio because all the constituents of the index are available on any given day. If you go to the NSE website, one can see the constituents of the index which are published daily. Now the small companies, are the residual 250 companies from the Nifty 500 universe. The Nifty 500 universe is the total universe of companies that represent almost more than 95% of the market by value. So the Nifty 500 companies together constitute nearly 95 to 97% of what we call the total market capitalization of the NSE. As I said, the performance is to capture the behavior of the small cap space. The index calculation methodology is free float, exactly like it is for the Nifty 50 and other NSE indexes. Currently, the 250 companies in the aggregate constituting the small cap represent almost 6.5 to 7% of the market by value. So how is the index constructed? Now let me use a very simple example, to explain this. Let's assume that your large companies, which is comprising of the Nifty 50 and the Nifty Next 50, they are like your college students and the secondary school students. So Nifty 50, think of Nifty 50 as the equivalent of the college students, large companies. That makes Nifty Next 50 as the equivalent of the secondary school. Which makes midcap 150 as the equivalent of the primary school. That makes small cap 250 as the equivalent of KG or nursery students. Now, as kids are small, they are more energetic. So small companies by virtue are more energetic and they tend to give you a higher expected return over a longer period of time. So out of the Nifty 500 universe, if you remove the large caps and the mid caps, that is the top 250 companies, what you have left is the small cap 250 companies. So this is how the index is simply constructed. One of the factors used in the index construction is that each company comprising the small cap index should have at least 10% free float. When I say free float, means non-promoter equity is what we call as free float. And the company should have been trading for at least 90 days prior to the inclusion in the index. The index is rebalanced. NSE rebalances the index twice in a year. That is, it removes some companies and announces new companies that will enter the index. So this is done twice in a year, exactly like it happens for the Nifty 50 and the other popular indexes that we are familiar with. This is the current constitution of the top 50 companies of the index. So as you can see, the top constituent currently is MCX, which has only 2% weightage. So this is a very, very widely diversified index, which is further evident in the next slide. The index is spread across 35 industries. So you have consumer non-durables, chemicals, finance, pharma, banks, auto ancillaries, engineering, cotton. Everything is there in this index. As we know, diversification is the best tool to mitigate risk. The three most important words in real estate are location, location, location. Likewise, the three most important words in investments are diversification, diversification, diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket is what we studied at school, and that is exactly what diversification is all about. So this is a very, very widely diversified index. Why small caps? So again, let me reiterate the example that I gave. The small companies, KG students, will eventually go to primary school, mid caps. Mid caps will eventually go to secondary school and college, which is your Nifty 50 and Nifty next 50. So as the Indian economy grows and as consumption increases in the future, we will see the small companies eventually graduating to college or finding a berth in the large cap indexes and the mid cap indexes. So you are simply capturing the small companies in their embryonic stage or their nursery stage or kindergarten stage. That is what this index is all about. So this is a comparison of the small cap index, which is the dark blue bar, with the Nifty 50 and the Nifty 500. So as you can see, over long periods of time, this study has been done from January 2010 to September 2020. As you can see, over long periods of time, the small cap in any time period that you take has given a better return than the Nifty 50 and the Nifty 500, which is your total market. So this is how the small companies tend to do over longer periods of time, exactly like these young kids of KG, more energetic, so they tend to give you a higher return than the students which are much older or the large caps. Again, the question that may arise is, why take all the 250 companies? Why not take smaller portfolios? So NSE also has the narrower small cap indexes represented by Nifty 100 small cap and Nifty 50 small cap. Now, as you can see, the comparison here has been done with the small cap 250, which is the current NFO. So again, you see in any time period, the small cap 250 index, which is the black bar, has outperformed the narrower small cap indexes as represented by the small cap 100 and the small cap 50. So more the merrier. The more companies you take, the better is the market representation, and hence better are the returns over longer periods of time, is what this slide is all about. Again, more the merrier. As you can see, again, the small cap 250 index is compared to the narrower small cap indexes of NSE. And as you can see, over longer periods of time, 100% of the time, the small cap 250 index has done better than the narrower small cap index, whether it is 50 index or 100 small cap index. As you can see here, this is the percentage times that the 250 has outperformed the narrow indexes, again further strengthening the fact that larger the index, better it is. This slide tells us that after a major market fall in the last decade, whenever the market has recovered in the subsequent year, the small cap companies have outperformed the large indexes. So for example, from 2006 to 2007, when the market fell in the recovery, the small cap 250 index gave a much higher return than the Nifty 100, which is your large cap index. In the current year, 2020, the small cap has given a return again much better than the large cap index, which further strengthens the argument that the small companies eventually tend to outperform the large companies. So So this slide gives you a ratio of the free float market cap. What does this mean in very simple words? The total value of the small cap index companies as measured by the market capitalization with respect to the Nifty. What is that ratio? So that ratio was a high 12.71% in January 2018. Currently, that ratio is down to 8.5%, which tells us that the small cap index valuation is very, very compelling. So this is lower than the peak valuation that was achieved, as well as lower than the average valuation in the last 10 years. So whichever way you look at it, whether it is the peak or the long-term average, the index valuation of small cap currently is very, very compelling. Further data points of the compelling valuation. So the small cap index average price earnings ratio over the last 4 years has been 60 and a half. The peak price earnings ratio was achieved in June 2017, 107. So from the peak, it is currently down to 33, or almost down 70%. Okay, again, compelling valuation, much lower than the peak and much lower than the long-term average, and lower than the Nifty also, lower than the Nifty price earnings ratio. Again, the premium and discount with respect to the Nifty. So again, the peak premium that was achieved was in June 2070, which was 340%. Currently, it is negative 18%, 0.8% negative. The average also, if you see, is the current, discount is much lower than the average premium over the last 4 years. So whichever data points you look, price earnings ratio, premium discount with respect to the Nifty, whatever you look at, the current valuations are very, very attractive, is what is the message from these two slides, this one and the previous one. This is the simple point-to-point return of the small cap versus the large cap indexes. So in the last 1, 3, and 6 months, the small cap has done much better than the Nifty 50 and the Nifty 100 and the total market. Okay, so whichever data point you look, the small cap has done better. Even if you look at the long-term data point, for example, 7-year CAGR, again the small cap has outperformed the large cap indexes. This is your SIP data point. Again, we have taken a monthly rolling over the last 10 years from January 2010 onwards till now. As you can see, the average return has been in the range of 13 to 14%, very decent to beat inflation, which is the objective of investing in equities. And longer you stay invested, lower are the negative time periods, lower is your negative outcome. So longer you stay invested, the more chances of earning a positive return in the small cap index. So, if I have to just quickly summarize, the small cap 250 index is very, very widely diversified across 35 industries and across 250 companies. So diversification is very, very well achieved. Don't put all your eggs in one basket is what I said. Since it is an index fund, you are reducing the fund manager risk, or you are eliminating the fund manager risk. See, it is very difficult to determine which fund managers will outperform the index in the future and which fund managers will underperform. That fact is only known in hindsight. So you are eliminating the risk of outperformance and underperformance. So if I use an analogy from sports, supposing the outperforming fund managers, think of them as gold medalists, and the underperforming fund managers, think of them as bronze medalists, then index is silver medal by default. So when you invest in an index, you are always in the silver medal position. You will never be in the underperformance or the bronze medal position. So you are eliminating the risk of underperformance, and you are also eliminating the risk of stock selection. Because if you ask 10 experts which are the best small cap companies to buy, they will give you 10 different answers. So you are eliminating that risk also. So no fund manager risk, no stock specific risk. You are participating in the size migration, which is simply the example that I used. KG students, small cap companies will even eventually go to primary school, mid cap, secondary school, Nifty next 50, college, Nifty 50. So this is the growth of children that you are capturing over a period of time. Because it is not an ETF, even non-demat holders can participate in this fund. This is a traditional mutual fund format, so you can do investments in exactly like you do for your traditional mutual funds. You can sign up for an SIP exactly like you sign up in your traditional mutual fund schemes. Low cost. The expense ratio is 1%, which is much lower than your actively managed or alpha small cap fund. How do you look at this? Supposing going forward, let's say over the next 10 years, the small cap index gives you a return of 15% CAGR, for example, and the fund manager of an alpha small cap fund matches the return of the index, then the fund manager will underperform simply because of a high cost. So a lower cost means higher return aggregating to the investor. So this is also a very, very important point. So if I have to summarize, the NFO has opened on September 28th. It is closing on October 9th. The entry and the exit load is nil. The minimum amounts that you can invest in the NFO is in line with any other mutual fund NFO that you are used to investing. There is a growth plan and a dividend plan that is available. So if I have to quickly summarize, no fund manager risk, no stock specific risk. Index is like the national cricket team. National cricket team will always remain. Individual stocks in the national cricket team are like individual players. Today's stars will go out of the team, new players will come in, but the national cricket team or the index will remain forever. Low cost and wide diversification. So these are some of the key factors because of which you should seriously look at the NFO and think of investing in the NFO. So with this, I end my session, and now we can have questions, if any. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Samir. I think it was quite insightful and great perspective on the small cap investing, more so specifically through the passive mode of investing. So we have a couple of questions which I'll bounce it off to you. The first question comes
Sure.
from Mr. Siddharth Shah. At this index level, where valuations of small caps are overstretched, do you still recommend to invest or wait for a correction or earnings growth to catch up? And recommended mode would be what, an SIP or a lump sum?
So yeah, so as we saw in this valuation slide, the valuation in terms of PE or premium to discount with respect to the Nifty 50, both are in a very attractive territory, way below the peak that was attained in the last 4 years and way below the long-term average price earnings ratio. So even the premium discount, if you see the premium discount ratio of small cap 250 with respect to the Nifty 50 was at a high in to June 2017. Currently, it is in the negative territory and again way below the long-term average. So I think the valuations are quite compelling in the present. What one can do is, if one doesn't want to invest in lump sum, one can start an SIP. So you are, spreading out your investments gradually. And one can always do an SIP in an index. See, it is very difficult to sign up for an SIP in an individual stock or with a fund manager because you don't know which stocks will remain in favor, which fund managers will remain in favor, but the index will always be there. So a long-term SIP can be easily done in a index is what I will recommend.
Great, thank you so much. The next question is from Mr. Ramakrishna. Uh, what about the taxation? What is the tax treatment?
Yeah. So taxation is exactly like your equity taxation. This is an equity mutual fund scheme. It's a passive fund, but all the same, it is an equity fund. So taxation is identical to equities.
Great, thank you for that. The next question is, how does this compare with a regular small cap fund, a mutual fund, regular small cap mutual fund?
Yes. So your regular small cap mutual funds, as I said, are alpha funds where you have a fund manager. Now, as I said, in the future going forward, especially if the SEBI circular which recently came out, which talks about realignment of multi-cap funds, and if more and more money flows to mid and small caps, it will be difficult for the fund managers to keep generating alpha going forward, exactly like it has happened for large caps. As we all know, in large caps, the alpha has almost disappeared. In mid caps, it is already a challenge. And going forward, this is likely to happen in small caps also. So instead of, getting into a guesswork, which fund managers will outperform and underperform in the future, it is better to eliminate that risk. Or at the most, what one can do is one can invest some portion of your investments in an alpha small cap fund, and in some portion of the portfolio buy the index fund and eliminate the fund manager risk. So one is capturing both alpha and beta, or one is combining both alpha and beta. So probably that is the way you can look at small cap space.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. The next question says, given the current situation where a lot of small cap companies seem to be in stress, mainly due to the business sustainability factor and earnings growth also getting affected, what should be the ideal investment horizon for staying invested in this fund?
See, as we, all of us are probably aware, since we have, seen so many webinars and presentations, any equity investment is an investment in business. So let me again give you an example. Supposing you start your own business, let's say you start your shop or your and let's assume, let's do a thought experiment. Let's assume that the shop declares an NAV every day, and the factory that you have set up also declares an NAV every day. Now, every day we will not look at the NAV, neither will we take a short-term view of the shop. Exactly like that, equity investments are also investments in businesses. So we have to take a long-term view. So the ideal time horizon for any equity investment, whether it is mid cap, large cap, or small cap, we have seen in so many presentations, should be at least 3 to 5 years. Longer the better. Okay. So any short-term volatility which happens gets averaged out over long term, and the cycles in equities which occur will also get averaged out. So one should take a long-term time horizon of at least minimum 3 to 5 years. More
Hello? Hello?
I think there's some connectivity issue with Samir Desai. We'll just sort it out. Sorry for the delay. We'll have 5-minute break.
Hello.
We can hear you now, Samir bhai. Hello?
Yeah. So I think there was some connectivity issue. So
Yeah.
yeah. So as I was saying, that one has to take a long-term view of equities, just like one does for any other business. So that is the way to go. Minimum 3 to 5 years view one should take as far as equities are concerned. Longer the time horizon, the better it is.
Great. Thank you for that. The next question is, would you recommend this fund for a first-time investor, especially for someone who's just beginning to start her investment journey?
Yeah, so what one can do is, if you are investing for the first time, maybe you can have another greater quantum of your investments in the large cap space, and maybe 10 to 15% allocation to small caps. I think the biggest, advantage of an index fund is that two major risks of investing are eliminated, which is the fund manager risk and the stock specific risk. So even if the index fund, is volatile in the short term, at least you will not have the problem of underperformance or stock selection risk, and at least get the index rate of return, whatever it is going forward. As we have seen in the data which I just showed you, in the last 10 years, it has been about 12% CAGR for this index. So assuming, let's say, a similar return comes in the future, for example, one is assured of at least that return going forward. So one can start with doing a 10 to 15% allocation in the small caps. The rest of the allocation can be to large caps, and I'm referring to the equity allocation.
Great. Thank you so much. The next question is, stocks in the small cap 250 index changes time to time as per their valuation or applicable criteria. I mean, the question is, so how does the rebalancing basically happen, and at what frequency and intervals? From Mr. Prakash.
So rebalancing happens 6 monthly, just like it is done for other NSE indexes, like for example the Nifty 50. So what happens is the index committee of NSE, or Nifty indices, which is the NSE index division, they will announce that which companies will go out of the index and which companies will come in. So in any index fund or ETF, the portfolio is always a mirror image of the index. So whichever companies the index committee says have to be removed or rebalanced, those will be removed, and new companies which the committee announces will be brought into the index, or the fund will buy those companies. So that is how the index is rebalanced twice in a year.
Okay. Okay, can you just recap once more the question that came to you earlier on what is a suggested investment type of investment, whether an SIP or a lump sum, because there are some repeat questions here.
Yes. See, SIP or lump sum is also a function of the investor's cash flows. So supposing somebody is, let's say, a salary kind of an investor, probably, he will sign up for an SIP. But one thing that I will say is that, we all the time talk about diversification. I spoke about diversification. So one is diversifying across asset classes. One is buying diversified portfolio, like for example, the small cap 250. The third type of diversification is diversifying through time, which is what your SIP does. SIP doesn't invest everything at one point in time. It is what we call time diversification. So time diversification is also an important method of diversification. One can obviously always invest in lump sum. For example, if one sees a huge fall in the market, like it happened for March and like it happened in March and April, probably it makes sense to invest, also via the lump sum, route. But otherwise, I will say that, to diversify across time, SIP is a good method of investment. It is time diversification, and it will iron out the volatility in time also, or the iron out the market rise and fall.
Great, thank you for that. Okay, the next question is the recent regulation on the mid cap category with respect to minimum 25% being mandated into the small cap space. Does this spell more liquidity for the small cap space, which means more better valuations? What is your view on that?
Yeah, so this is according to me, will make it more challenging for the fund managers in the small cap space to generate alpha, because see, as you receive more and more money, a fund manager may have, may bet his money on, let's say, 20, 30 companies, okay, which he thinks are the best ideas according to him. Now he will find it more challenging, to generate alpha if this, more money comes in the small caps. So the small caps will also, companies will also then, be as well discovered as the large cap companies are. That is why in large caps you see the alpha has diminished rapidly. So this will be more of a challenge, to my mind, for the fund managers in the future when this realignment happens. For the index, you are simply putting the money in the index. So the index fund will not see much challenge, but I see more challenge for the alpha funds in the future.
Great. Thank you so much for that. That was the last question that we could take. Thank you so much, investors, for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Sameer, for your time and for a very insightful session on the small cap index fund. We can close this session now, Shyam.
Yeah. Thank you, Ganesh, and thank you, investors, and happy investing.